Hello there. I'm the IdeaSpectrum, and this is your weekly dose of complicated, seemingly nonsense concepts made easier. Let's talk about something that's as old as human civilization, but still feels like uncharted territory for many. Gender. At first glance, it might seem simple. Just male and female, right? But reality is way more nuanced. Take intersex people, for instance. These are individuals born with physical or genetic traits that don't fit the typical definitions of male or female. According to the UN, up to 1.7% of people are born with intersex traits, comparable to the number of redheads on the planet. And societies have long recognized identities outside the binary. In India, hieras, a third gender category, have been around for thousands of years, often revered as spiritual beings.
So clearly, the gender binary isn't the whole story. And today, we're diving into why that is, how religion fits into it all, and why sexual orientation might be the secret glue holding the traditional binary together. Let's start with the Abrahamic faiths, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. These religions, followed by over 4 billion people, which is half of the current world's population, all trace their origins back to the creation story of Adam and Eve. In Genesis 1:27, we read, "So God created mankind in his own image. Male and female he created them." This sets the tone for a divinely ordained binary. It's not just about anatomy. It's about moral structure. Male and female are cast as complementary roles, with specific responsibilities, virtues, and expectations. In Islam, Quran 30:21 emphasizes that men and women are garments for each other, symbols of mutual support but also distinction and duality. But while religion formalized this binary, human experience has always been far more nuanced. So for example, intersex people don't fit neatly into male or female categories. This can involve chromosomes, like XXY, hormone levels, or anatomical variations. For instance, someone with androgen insensitivity syndrome might have XY chromosomes, but develop typically female traits due to a lack of response to male hormones. In many countries, intersex infants are subjected to surgeries to make them appear more typically male or female, and often without consent. Human rights groups and the UN argue these procedures violate bodily autonomy. Intersex people are a living testament to the biological spectrum of sex. On the other hand, certain human societies give us cultural examples of gender fluidity. Recognized as a third gender since 2014 in India, hieras historically held roles in royal courts and spiritual ceremonies. Today, many face discrimination, mostly because of colonialism's heritage. In Navajo culture, the term Nadli'i refers to individuals embodying both masculine and feminine traits. These individuals were often revered as healers, teachers, or mediators. Colonization and Christianization marginalized them. In the Samoa Islands, males at birth but embodying both masculine and feminine roles, Fa'afafine are integrated into Samoan society and often become caregivers and family leaders.
Meanwhile, sometimes referred to as ladyboys, Kathoi individuals live openly and contribute to entertainment and fashion industries, despite facing legal and social hurdles. All these examples demonstrate that gender diversity is not a modern invention. It's a human constant that has been observed for a long time now.
Let's zoom into gender identity. That internal sense of being male, female, both, neither, or somewhere in between. Children begin developing gender identity between 18 to 24 months. By 3 years old, most label themselves as boy or girl. By age 5, they enforce gender norms, not because it's biological, but because they're learning from society. And if you think that society doesn't have anything to do with this, here are a few examples on how societal norms influence how we see things. Pink was considered masculine until the mid-20th century. In 1918, a trade publication said, "Pink is more decided and stronger, ideal for boys. Blue was dainty, and for girls." Heels. Originally Persian military gear, wigs and lace. Power symbols for men like Louis XIV. Skirts. Totally manly in ancient Rome. In medieval Europe, emotional men were romantic heroes. In Sparta, women were raised strong and men often formed emotional homoerotic bonds with other warriors. Psychology now views gender as part of one's core identity. The IPA recognizes gender dysphoria, but emphasizes that being transgender is not a mental illness. Some MRI studies suggest trans people have brain structures more aligned with their identified gender. So yes, gender is in the mind, and that's exactly why it matters. Let's now examine the key factor anchoring religion to a binary model: sexual orientation. Most Abrahamic doctrines tie gender to heterosexual reproduction. Two sexes, one purpose: to create life. Therefore, homosexuality or even celibacy outside reproductive marriage is often labeled sinful. And this rigidity has a cost. According to the Trevor Project, LGBTQ+ youth from rejecting families are 8.4 times more likely to attempt suicide. Plus, in many religious countries, homosexuality is punishable by law. In some, it's punishable by death. And even in history, things weren't always like this. In ancient Greece and Rome, male-male relationships were normalized and often institutionalized. During Islamic Golden Age, poets like Abu Nuwas openly celebrated same-sex love. While legal systems penalized it, cultural expression was more tolerant. In Christian monasteries, same-sex romantic friendships, often celibate, were common and sometimes even spiritually celebrated. Judaism today reforms and even some modern Orthodox communities are becoming more inclusive. LGBTQ Jews are reclaiming spiritual spaces. Now, why sex isn't just for reproduction? Only 3 to 5% of sexual acts lead to pregnancy. Sex increases oxytocin, reduces stress, and strengthens bonds. And finally, infertile couples exist. Are they outside God's design? We're not saying here that sex shouldn't be for reproduction, but limiting it only to that ignores a vast part of human experience.
Phew, that was intense. We just dove into theology, biology, sociology, psychology, and poetry all in one go. So if your brain feels like it just did 5 push-ups, congrats, you earned it. Remember, this video isn't about saying religion is wrong. It's about showing that the world, and people, are more complex than old categories allow. Bigenderism, or the idea of there being only 2 genders, may be more about tradition than truth. And we only wish to unite by mutual understanding. Next week, we'll explore how misunderstanding modern ideologies can lead to counterproductive backlash. Go woke, go broke. And yes, we'll be talking about the Snow White movie recent flop, and whether its star's extreme stances were actually grounded in fact or just unhopeful noise. If that sounds spicy, don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss your next dose of IdeaSpectrum awesomeness. Until next time, question harder, think broader, and don't let anyone shrink your spectrum.